Now, Kudlow is a convert to the conservative cause, beginning as an aide to New York Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan. Kudlow had a complete odyssey and has become the country's single most prominent advocate for monetary reform and tax reduction as tools for economic growth. Welcome back. I'm Roger Stone, now sitting in for the great Alex Jones. Well, great news out of the Trump White House today. The president will appoint CNBC economist and supply-side apostle Larry Kudlow as the new head of the National Economic Council. This means that he replaces Goldman Sachs' Gary Cohn. Now, Kudlow is a convert to the conservative cause, beginning as an aide to New York Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan. Kudlow had a complete odyssey and has become the country's single most prominent advocate for monetary reform and tax reduction as tools for economic growth. It was Larry Kudlow and his associate Stephen Moore of the Heritage Foundation that helped candidate Trump formulate the single most dynamic pro-growth economic plan of any of the Republican candidates for president. Now, finally, the president has an advisor who shares his stated view for a boom economy through reduction of tax rates across the board. Now, while Kudlow is not an advocate for the president's tariffs or his talk of tariffs, he will not countermand his president in public as Cohn and others did. I think Kudlow understands that the president is using the cudgel of tariffs, the threat of tariffs, to open the door for new negotiations. In fact, Kudlow knows that the president has already taken the single greatest step that he can take in terms of redressing the trade balance by lowering the tax rate on all businesses and all corporations, big and small, below that of the corporate tax rate in China, Mexico, Japan, and Canada. This is the true answer. Now, finally, we have a true blue Trumpite, someone who advocated his candidacy and helped with his election as the chief economic advisor to the president. This is extraordinarily good news. Now, if you've followed Infowars, you know that we were the first major news organization to tell you that Secretary of State Rex Tillerson would be out. Initially reported that he would be out by the end of the year. Then I amended my report to say that after a dinner with General Mattis, General Kelly, and Mr. Tillerson, that the new Secretary of State would be named in March and that Tillerson would hold on until then. The firing of Tillerson gave way to perhaps the greatest headline of all time after the original. The New York Post says the worst Rex I ever had. A riff, of course, on their famous iconic headline regarding Donald Trump and his second wife, Marla Maples, who said it was allegedly the best sex she had ever had. A terrific riff there by the New York Post. The truth is that Tillerson and the president clashed over the Iran deal. The president is looking for the exit. He knows this is a lousy deal. He knows we have massively overpaid for it. He knows that there was cash going to the Iranians that were never made clear to the United States citizens, the taxpayers. He knows that the Iranians cannot be trusted not to cheat. In fact, they're most likely cheating as we speak. And therefore, I think the president, who knows a bad deal when he sees one, is committed to ending this one. Tillerson disagreed. They also clashed on the question of North Korea, where the president wants to engage in personal diplomacy, following it every day, carefully baiting the North Korean leader, alternately praising him and attacking him, but above all, bringing him to the table. This is a classic example of the use of what President Richard Nixon called the madman theory, as recorded by Secretary of State Henry Kissinger. This is where your opponents fear you. They know that you are prepared to go to any length to smite them, and that they're better off negotiating than running the risk of endangering themselves by firing your ire. In this case, they knew that Barack Obama was a cream puff, a marshmallow, who said that we would draw a line in the sand and then stood back helplessly while our adversaries stepped over it. Not so a Donald J. Trump, and therefore his personal diplomacy is working. Those in the mainstream media, the rabid dogs now nipping at my heels with fake news about my association, or in this case, non-association with WikiLeaks and Julian Assange, they are apoplectic over the president's breakthrough. Only weeks ago, they were telling us about the danger of this saber rattling, that Trump was trying to get us into World War III, that his policies and his approach to the North Koreans were too bellicose. Where are those carping critics now? Well, I'll tell you, they're busy impugning me with uncorroborated witnesses who can say anything they want. Sean Hannity is absolutely right about this. Journalism is dead in America. The idea of two sources, the idea of credibility, the idea of evidence and proof are out the window. We can file multi-million-dollar lawsuits against Alex Jones and Infowars, or against Roger Stone, or against Lee Stranahan, or against any number of conservative voices. We don't have to have evidence. We don't have to have proof. Our lawsuits can be frivolous harassment suits, but they're meant to engender negative headlines, and they're meant to be used as the rationale when the tech left tries to shut Infowars down. This is why Alex Jones is being square when he tells you that this will be an extremely expensive fight. The far left has deep pockets, and the Googles, the Facebooks, the Twitters, these companies are awash in cash. Those who are suing us are backed with men like Soros and others who will finance the effort to try to shut us down. We, on the other hand, can only depend on you. Now, I can tell you in my own lawsuit, where I'm being sued by an Obama-backed group, together with Donald Trump, and the accusation is the same one that is being bandied about falsely in the mainstream media, that I worked with Donald Trump and the Russians to hack the DNC's emails and deliver them to both WikiLeaks and Donald Trump. Categorically, positively false, but my legal costs are at $500,000 today and increasing. Alex Jones and Infowars are looking at many, many times that, because they have multiple lawsuits that they have to beat back, which is why I implore you now to go to the Infowars.com store. Whether it is our extraordinary products like Brain Force Plus, or Immune Wall, or Survival Shield, now at 25% off, or the Secret 12, or whether you buy a First Amendment-oriented T-shirt and join the T-shirt of the Month Club, or get a copy of my book, The Making of the President 2016, How Donald Trump Orchestrated a Revolution. Or if you're not in the market for any of those things, but you want to gird us for the fight for freedom and the fight over the First Amendment, then go to the donate button, which you can now find prominently at our website. Send us $25, $50, $100, whatever you can send helps build our bankroll for defense and for, as Alex Jones said earlier, getting on the offense. Let's stop defending and trying to explain away the Russian collusion question. Let's point out that the globalists and Hillary Clinton have engaged in enormous crimes to try to steal the last election and to put the neocons back in control of national policy. We can only count on you, and we need your help now more than ever. Not only do we have to pay for the expansion of our programming here at Infowars, we must also pay for these enormous lawsuits. They're trying to bankrupt us. That is their strategy. You can help defeat them. Please go to the Infowar store right now.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
You're a white man! You're a white man!
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
Talking to some of my colleagues at Trump Tower just a few minutes ago, there's a little optimism here.
No one thought it was going to be this close at this point. Trump can still win this thing.
We have another state to project it as the state of North Carolina, big battleground state. It's going to Donald Trump.
I was actually ready to go to bed, and then I started seeing the Electoral College come in, and I'm like super psyched.
This is going to be a very close election.
I'm seeing these late-breaking trends. This could hand Trump the presidency, folks. This is not by any means over.
I think there's some real jitters setting in Clinton headquarters right now.
Wolf, the scene here is so different than it was a few hours ago when people were happy and relaxed.
This is most unexpected.
Certainly is a huge, huge surprise to so many people out there.
I think we all thought it couldn't happen, that he couldn't do what he did, and guess what? He may just do it.
Donald Trump has taken the lead. He has 216 electoral votes.
This is truly the beginning of the end for Hillary Clinton's
campaign.
campaign.
He is pulling ahead of Hillary Clinton. You see it right there.
We haven't discussed the number of groups who are likely feeling real fear right now. You've got women, immigrants who have been threatened by Donald Trump with deportation.
How do I explain this to my children? I have Muslim friends who are texting me tonight saying, should I leave the country?
America is crying tonight. I'm not sure how much of America, but a very, very significant portion, and I mean literally crying.
Hillary Clinton has telephoned Donald Trump to concede this election. It is now President-elect
Donald Trump projects Donald Trump, the President of the United States.
People have talked about a miracle. I'm hearing about a nightmare.
This is your life now. This is us. This is our country.
I'm so excited. The new product at InfoWarsLife.com in a glass bottle, 2-month servings, filled to the brim, filled to the absolute top, the real red pill. This is a heart and brain pill, a nootropic that doesn't have any stimulants in it. But boy, does it stimulate, because it's beyond that. Quite frankly, I just went off what I saw medical doctors prescribing to their patients, but it wasn't prescription, but they were charging people $100, $200 for the formulae. And I came up with our own formula, working with some scientists and developers, non-GMO, made right here in America, 120 capsules. And ladies and gentlemen, you add the pregnenolone to it, which is the precursor to all the hormones that your body has to have to even make the hormones in your glands. It is amazing. Red pill, now available at InfoWarsStore.com, and your purchase funds the operation.